So, hello, welcome back to another stream and therefore also another episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And today we are going to talk about working out, and in particular working out at home. Since I do have a tiny little bit of experience when it comes to working out at home, I guess that I can provide a little tiny bit of value. But yeah, that being said, see you after the intro. The wonderful intro. And in the meantime, I can actually kind of get my notes here. Please don't fall. Please do not fall. I don't want anything to be broken. There we go. So I do have once again a little tiny bit of notes. But for me, kind of recapping this again. Why is this lagging? It is a tiny bit. I don't know why. Don't know why exactly, but maybe. I think it's gonna be fine, is it? I've been working out for 5 years now, 6 years now, something around that. And I've been able to really just get to a certain level of fitness and also aesthetics. And solely from working out at home. Of course, there's still gonna be some equipment needs, quote unquote, which, at least in my point of view, it's only going to matter in the later parts of your journey. So in the last, I don't know, I think 2 years, I've just gotten more equipment because I felt like I needed it, and it really also helped me. So it, in the end, was a good idea to get new equipment. At this point in time, I'm also thinking about new stuff that is going to make my life A, easier, and B, going to give me more opportunities to just work out better and therefore also harder, I would argue. But anyway, we're going to start indeed with the equipment because I think it kind of makes sense to do so. So yourself, your body weight on one hand. On the other hand, there's also like resistance bands, and I could actually show you then, which is some sort of a set. Then you're also gonna quote unquote need weights. These weights could be, and I do have both options, could be either dumbbells, and there you have the plates, and or books. I do use books as well. Some of them are actually really heavy and can really be easily used as proper weight for just doing some weighted calisthenics and doing some weighted exercises, but also some other things like curls and whatnot. Then a yoga mat, really important if you want to do ab stuff and you do not really want to fuck with your back, then I really suggest that. And the last thing, a straight bar. I'm using it for pull-ups. I'm just having two chairs, and I kind of plug this straight bar in between of them, and then I can do some quote-unquote pull-ups. And or just some Australian pull-ups. In the end, it's going to be pull-up variations. Full pull-up is not really working, since my chairs aren't like 180 high centimeters. Of course, you could also get some other stuff. I mean, in terms of resistance bands, I was referring to the ones you have with. I'm actually going to show you, if I can do so with my feet. Fucked it. These ones. It is not a loop, it is not a closed one, but you're having attachments, and you can also just throw it over a door or something, and it really does work well for a lot of exercises. And I'm also going to get into the exercise part later on, and also the exact exercises that I do. At this point in time, it's always changing. It's always kind of, I do just need variety. And I also feel like that for progressing, one actually really needs variety, whether it is in terms of weights or it is indeed in terms of exercises. But these are the few, obviously you could also have some, where is it? There it is. That's amazing. Some resistance bands like these, which is some sort of a loop. I think they're also called loop. I'm actually not that sure. I'm sorry, but They also work really well for some exercises, but I really rarely use them. When I'm using them, I guess it is more or less going to be for back exercises, you know, and they actually say that it is high strength, 7 to 16 kilograms or 15 to 35 pounds. Problems you're going to have with things like these, first of all, I'm actually really afraid that they break, and I think this is eventually also going to happen, you know, throughout the years. This material, it really depends on the material though, it tends to get really kind of, is it called porosis? You know what I mean? You know, it's gonna crumble, and it's just basically gonna crack, like just some concrete stuff or wood or whatever. And I mean, I don't really know if this is actually 7 to 16 kilograms. Of course, why is there actually a range, you know? I'm pulling, why is there a range? Well, I would assume that these are 7 kilograms. But when I'm doing it like this, you know, keeping it or just gripping it closer, it is probably going to be more or less more, just because it is just more effort to pull it apart. But as you can see, I'm actually a little bit afraid that I'm going to break it, to really be honest. Anyway, and that's tremendously well for my ligaments. Yes, called like that. I just actually thought about something. Today I was thinking about working out my I always forget the word. Is it called my lower arm, upper arm, lower arm? You know, this part. You know, let's see. You know what I mean, probably. You know, you have the hands, then you have your biceps, triceps, and in between is the one region that I'm referring to right now. And there are actually some exercises where you just solely use your fingers, because, you know, they're attached to your, I'm actually gonna Google it. Lower arm, forearm. There we go, forearm. There are some forearm exercises where you just use your fingers for, and you're basically spreading your fingers like this. And I'm just trying to maybe kind of show it with this particular thing. You know, it would need to be a bit more like this. And you're basically doing the spread apart thing. There actually are some other equipments that you could need for that, or that are, you know, created for that. But I am a really big fan of just, you know, trying to be as creative as you can be and just make things work with what you're already having. I really dislike the idea of, okay, I need to get this and I need to get that and I need to just eat this stuff, I need to get some protein and whatnot for me actually being able to start, and I do want to underline, start working out. Like, this is not the case. I've started working out with basically nothing, only myself, only my body, and it really worked fine. And well, at this point in time, even if I thought about that, going to the gym is probably not going to be an option for me, since I do like the idea of working out wherever I am, whenever I want to work out. I do actually like working out alone. I haven't done it before with a partner or something, as far as I actually remember. No, I guess I really kind of haven't, up to this point at least. It's free, you know. Gyms sometimes are pretty expensive, and I'm a fucking student. I do not have loads and loads of money anyway. So this is the equipment part, and also, you know, some things, but I assume you're having them at home. There I'm having some books in this bag, yeah, and also a backpack. So resistance bands, and a set, you know, where you could also just hang it onto a door and then use it and whatnot. A backpack, weights, whether it is dumbbells and or books, a yoga mat, a straight bar, and some sort of bag that is strong enough to hold a decent amount of weight so you can do certain exercises. Coming to the exercises, and speaking of exercises, I do want to at first talk about at least how I have been using exercises. You know, in you know, what plan I've been having, you know, what type of exercises I'm choosing and whatnot, and it really is suited for my level, what I do and what I like. But I'm gonna get into that. I do use mostly supersets and megasets. I think they're called megasets, maybe even also gigasets. Let's actually gigasets. Gigaset, well, anyway, so I am using, one could actually talk about circles then, I guess, or cycles. Well, anyway, so I'm having one exercise followed by the next exercise, followed by the next exercise, followed by the next exercise, and then I'm going to repeat the whole thing again. But sometimes it's, it really depends on how I feel about things. I tend to just, add another set of one exercise just in this cycle, just because I felt like, well, the first set was really, 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 really shit, and I didn't feel the muscle. I just, I felt like actually doing quite nothing, wasn't able to hit the muscle and whatnot. And so it just really depends. Sometimes I add some things, but this is something to really be conscious about. Sometimes I also do not do certain exercises because of whatever reason, but there you really need to be conscious and think about why you're doing so, and if there is actually a good reason to do that. I really disliked the thought of, I'm cutting down on my workout plan just because I do not feel like it today. No, you're anyway gonna do it. And this is also one of the reasons why I do actually suggest quite everyone to stick to a plan and actually use a plan, because if you do not use a plan and you kind of think, well, I can do it myself, I'm just gonna do whatever, it's not gonna work out that well. At least I think not in the beginning. At this point in time, I do not really have a plan. I just memorized all the exercises that I want to do and that I do. And sometimes I'm changing things up when I feel like, okay, I've done this particular exercise for so long now, I should actually do something different. But then one really has to think about, like, is it the same bang for the buck? Which means if I'm exchanging exercises, do I get the same stimulus at least out of it? Optimally, it would actually be if you get a better stimulus from the new exercise, just because your body is not used to it and you're not used to it, and so you're having just a win-win situation of you actually feeling better about the workout that you're doing, and on the other hand, you're also just growing muscle a bit better because of this better stimulus. So supersets and megasets and or circle cycles, whatever. Doing slow repetitions could help. I tend not to do so. Sometimes I do, to really feel the muscle and really well make sure that I'm hitting it quite, because sometimes on some days, this is just dependent on whatever, I do not feel the muscle very well. And then I do some slow things, and you do not need a lot of weight to do so, which is the good thing about that, and which is also the reason why I've pointed it out here. Slow repetitions. Then combination of resistance and weights. For example, when you're doing a curl, let's use a curl. When you're doing a curl with a dumbbell, as far as I know, the most resistance that you're going to have is on the very low portion of the whole exercise. So when you're let's just show it like this. When you're doing this, and your arm is, or basically your hand is at the very top of the position, then there's actually not that much weight on the biceps. But if you're going down and down and down and down and down up to like an, I don't know, a 90-degree angle or something, or just your arm being fully extended, this is where your biceps has to work the most. On the flip side, if you're using resistance bands, it's the complete opposite. On the very low ends, there's actually not a lot of pressure or force on your biceps, but when you're just pulling it up, the pressure and also the tension increases. And this is also one of the reasons why it does make sense to use resistance bands in combination with weights, just to once again create a new stimulus. I do relatively rarely do so, I don't know, because I would have to kind of rearrange weights and stuff like that, and sometimes, especially when you're working at home, it's not really efficient if you always have to change things up. You have to put this in another bag, you have to put something out of the bag, and you're wasting basically a lot of time, and you're also losing a lot of time. So therefore, I do rarely do that. It just also heavily depends on the day and if I just want to do it. Then of course you're going to have calisthenics progressions and weighted calisthenics. This is why I've pointed out the backpack in the very beginning. When you're doing push-ups, when you're doing dips, use a backpack with weights, whether it is books, whether it is water bottles, whether it is sand, whether it is whatever it may be. And well, just doing the exercise then, to get, well, more weight, more stress on the body, more stress on the muscle. And the last one is actually, quote unquote, simulating gym exercises. And this is one of the reasons why I love the bands so much. You could hang it onto a door and then do cable flies or pack flies, but you could also do some lat pull downs. You can do some ab exercises indeed as well. You can just do so many things with these fucking resistance bands. It's actually been one of the best investments I've ever made in my life. I'm using it every single day, and I've been able to progress very well because of them. Also because, as I said, you can use them solely as a way to make calisthenics exercises more difficult. You can do push-ups with them, by just hanging it around your body quite, and then, using it to push yourself away and whatnot. But you can also use them to make exercises easier. For example, pull-ups, there it's actually often, well, quote unquote, recommended or shown that you can use resistance bands to make yourself lighter quite, and then do more and actually, well, more and better performed pull-ups or executed pull-ups. So supersets / megasets, doing slow repetitions, having a combination of resistance and weights, so resistance bands and weights. Then having calisthenics progression, which in the end really is about lever and leverage. I mean, if you're doing a handstand push-up, you're having more weights on certain body parts as when you're just doing a regular push-up. This is just what it is, and you can Google the different exercises and also the progressions to, well, make sure that you're always getting a better stimulus and you're kind of progressing, which is actually one of the most important things there, doing more sets, using more weights, just making things more difficult over time and there's actually a word for that, but I don't remember it right now, just to progress, get bigger, get stronger. In terms of the plan, and this is now something that basically nobody's going to recommend here in the fitness industry. It may actually be relatively inefficient, but I do enjoy it. Which, by the way, is also kind of the case with megasets. In particular, supersets, a lot of people do them, but I would argue that this is specifically because I am working out at home and I do not have access to ultra heavy weights. I guess when I would be benching with, I don't know, 200 pounds, I would basically also not, or probably also not superset that with something else, even if it would be a bit more efficient in terms of, time-wise, which is also a big part of, why I like this plan or like this principle quite. But yeah, coming back to the plan, I do have very high frequency in two ways, basically. On one hand, I'm working out 6 times a week and doing my 10K steps, which is my cardio, every single day. I at least try to do so most often. I'm not getting it in on Sunday. No, that's not right. Saturday. It depends on when I'm working and therefore also when I'm having my rest day. So most often when I have to work there, I'm also having my rest day. But yes, period. So high frequency in this department, having it 6 times a week, but I do not recommend you at the very beginning to do fucking 6 days a week. Sometimes it's actually too much for myself as well, but I'm actually so focused and so disciplined in that way that, well, I'm just going through it. I just do what I quote unquote have to do and move on from there. But also having an upper and lower body split, or just a 2-day split quite. If this is the proper way of saying it, I don't know, which is also then really high frequency. So I'm having a day of chest, triceps and the legs, as well as delts. And then on the next day I'm gonna have back and abs and biceps. and that is it. And then I'm just doing it again, and then I'm doing it again, which means that I do hit the same muscle group 3 times a week, which is actually really optimal for me and myself. Maybe I haven't tried it out in quite some time, but I have before. Maybe it would be better, but I've tried it out and I really disliked it. You know, I cannot do like just one exercise, then a minute break, then another exercise, then a minute break. I, first of all, do not get really warmed up by doing so, and I do not get warm myself. Contractions are pretty shit, and through that I am able to balance out something that is just me and myself. You know, the quality of my reps, they're probably not going to be that great, period. You know, sometimes I focus on it, but most often I do not. And just by doing then a lot of work, by doing a lot of sets and reps and different exercises and whatnot, I can somehow balance it out, at least for me and the way I feel about things. This may actually kind of be not the case, but I don't really care for myself. And you should really do proper technique, you know, in terms of, you know, just not doing it properly. I meant like I could do it way slower. Sometimes I'm just too fast. Sometimes I'm just pushing through. Sometimes I'm using a bit too much weight. Yada yada yada. You know, various different things. But in the end, it really boils down to self-awareness and understanding your body a bit better. Which of course is not going to be the case in the first year of working out. You know, you cannot expect to just know your body fully, know how it is responding to stimuli, how it is doing, how you're doing, how you're feeling, where you're able to get done other things in life as well, which then also boils down to time efficiency and just, you know, not fucking around in the gym or when you're working out and so on and so forth. Like, I think at this day and age, it's gotten easier for people to work out at home and to also build a decent body by doing so. I have kind of done it. I would actually really like to show some before and after pictures, but I do not have them there yet, or at this point in time, unfortunately. Maybe, let me actually check my phone. Maybe I do have some really old pictures there to show. I mean, for me, it really worked, especially in the past. Well, I would argue 2 years. I've been able to, I've actually forgotten about something. I've been able to build quite a decent body, I would say. Supplements. I do take creatine, 5 grams a day if I'm not mistaken, and that is quite it. I do not use protein powder because money-wise and what I'm getting out of it, it's just not there. You know, I would rather buy like, I don't know, just a dozen eggs for just not even the same price, but like a tenth of the price, kind of. Or it's actually 6 eggs for a tenth, quite, of the price. And so I could actually get, well, apparently 60 eggs, and of course, calories matter, macros matter, and so on and so forth. But for me, I mean, if I'm getting sponsored, if just people send it to me, I would definitely use it, and I would be just, you know, pretty happy to use it. But at this point in time, I don't feel like it's necessary for me. I'm still having a bit left, to be honest. Yeah, as I said, it's fine. I'm doing really fine without it. But let me actually show you a picture from maybe, so this is 2019. I mean, also is this still 2019? Yes. I mean, it's a really strange picture, but is there maybe I'm able to find another one. I mean, I've been really quite skinny. You know, as you can see, I've been really thin, and you can actually also see that in my face. You know, biceps. Well, yeah, you know, I mean, I've always been quite lean. something that I'm actually also pretty grateful for. It's a pretty good thing. I've liked it. I still like it. It's good and then whatnot. I appreciate it. But I mean, that's it. Just, you know, relatively skinny. And at this point of time, camera roll. Well, this is a picture in pretty good lighting, but you know, it is something different. You know, there's for sure more mass. There's for sure like better development in muscle, and I mean, yeah, of course, you know, it's edited. The original does not look as good, obviously, but it's fine. You know, I'm still relatively lean, but a bit more muscle at least. Anyway, with this being said, I do hope that I've been able to share certain things and certain thoughts and certain ideas that really help you out